Hello and welcome. My name is Lindsay Bain, and I will be walking you through my thesis presentation for GPE 4700 2020-2021. I'm exploring the intellectual and political history of neoliberalism through its emergence as a political and economic project, and analytically critiquing the theoretical and epistemic bases of institutionalized norms that arose from the construction of a neoliberal subjectivity. From a theoretical base, neoliberalism is not a specific set of economic policies or principles, an ideology that prioritizes profit seeking for a capitalist class or a particular phase of capitalism. Rather, neoliberalism is a totalizing reorganization of the self, the social, and society using ideological and discursive practices that normalize the economization and marketization of all spheres of social and political life. Let's look at this a bit closer. Neoliberal rationality is the fundamental restructuring and dissemination of market principles into all aspects of social and political life. According to Foucault, neoliberalism is distinct in its success in generalizing the model of the market or enterprise form within the social body, because this allows for an economization or spread of economic reach to the entire social and political sphere. Neoliberalism is an order of normative reasoning that takes shape as a governing rationality extending a specific formulation of economic values, practices, and metrics to every dimension of human life. It is distinct because it takes the formal principles of a market economy, or the model of the market, characterizes them as a naturally occurring reality, and projects them onto a general art of government, including institutional, normative, and subjective reconstruction. By generalizing market principles through the social body, the principles and norms of neoliberal rationality create space for new ways of relating state, society, the economy, and subjectivity. Rather than working as a precise set of economic policies, neoliberalism and neoliberal rationality naturalizes the market and market principles through the social sphere in its creation of the entrepreneurial self. Let's explore this reconstruction. Adam Smith saw human nature, or man as an economic actor, as a creature propelled by the natural urge to truck, barter, and exchange. Neoliberal rationality restructures the human subject as an economic actor from this economic man to an entrepreneurial self. The entrepreneurial self is an intensely constructed and governed bit of human capital, an entrepreneur capable of seizing opportunities for profit and ready to engage in constant competition. Capitalism, and its necessary division of labor, required a reformation of human capital that could adapt to the increased innovation, technological advancement, and new economic order that was developing in society. This new social reality required a more innovative, adaptable, knowledgeable, and skilled labor force that could meet the needs of society and adapt the social order to the division of labor. The entrepreneurial self was constructed as a necessary and required aspect of capitalist development. However, achieving this would require a fundamental restructuring and reformulation of human capital involving targeted policy toward individual and social existence as a whole. Neoliberal rationality created new ways of conceiving and relating state, society, the economy, and subjectivity that not only reshaped the social subject into an entrepreneurial subject, but neoliberalized all domains of social and political life. From projects of neoliberalized states, corporations, nonprofits, schools, scholars, public agencies, websites, banks, legal institutions, the list goes on. Neoliberal rationality applied the model of the market to all activities and domains along norms of productive specialization and the extension of market exchanges in order to curate the desired preferences, attitudes, and goals deemed necessary for contemporary capitalist society. It is through state action in policy and legislation that productive and exchange activities were developed in line with these norms of productive specialization and the extension of market exchanges. There are inherent ideals for preferences, attitudes, goals, and norms in the neoliberal subjective construction that oppose difference or heterogeneity. Neoliberalism prescribes an existential norm that has been presiding over public policy, governing global economic relations, transforming society, and reshaping subjectivity to a Western homogeneous universal for more than a third of a century. This normative subjectivity has been prescribed and enforced through institutionalized hegemonic ideologies and is diametrically opposed to indigenous subjectivities, values, and epistemologies, which is where I'm grounding my case studies. I am interested in the contestation, opposition, and rejection of neoliberal universality within the Indigenous and Canadian context. The Canadian case is fitting due to the history of residential schooling and attempted cultural genocide, whose abhorrent justification rhetorically follows similar discursive framings of racism and Western modernization or idealism as neoliberal subjectivity's necessitation towards changing man himself. Neoliberalism seeks a homogeneous society and structures institutions and legislation in attempts to achieve this. By exploring the role of the state, power, autonomy, and governance in constructing neoliberal subjectivity and indigenous subjectivities, I intend to further highlight flaws in neoliberal rationality while offering alternative conceptualizations of the political and economic spheres of governance, society, and humanity involving more inclusive, sustainable alternatives. In sum, my research question is as follows. What is the impact of neoliberalism's marketization and economization of the spheres of social and political life? And how does this ideological restructuring and reconceptualizing of individual and collective subjectivities impact and shape indigeneity, coloniality, and knowledge? Thank you.